The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Hello, this is Alex Jones with some important questions. If you're going into a battle and they give you a rifle and a sidearm, how much ammunition do you want? My answer would be all I can get. In the battle for freedom and the lives of your loved ones, food is your only ammunition. How much do you want? When do you want it? Now or after the battle starts? When will you need it? Can you buy it without proper identification? Will there be any food? Will it make your children sick? If there's a quarantine and you can't feed yourself, will you go to the gathering center and be immunized? You wipe out all these problems if you have a good food supply. Food is your ammunition to fight for your freedom and your life. How much will you need? We don't know. How much do you want? All you can get. I'm Alex Jones. I want all of you good guys to live to fight another day. Call 1-800-409-5633 or check it out on the web at efoodsdirect.com. Again, that number, 1-800-409-5633.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans, made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange Home Gain Gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com. HomeGain.com. Check them out today.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Well, thank you for joining us for the 27-hour transmission going right through the show tomorrow. We got Lord Christopher Monckton coming up, exclusive interviews, live interviews. David Icke joining us in a few hours. We're going to have, for 2 hours, Gerald Celente. We're going to have Max Keiser for an hour. I mean, the list goes on and on. The full TV guide for it, TV/radio guide, is at InfowarsMoneybomb.com. I just saw Kurt posted up there. It's also on the main page of Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And I want to just remind you that we're doing this Money Bomb to finish the new studios and continue our operations and hopefully expand what we're doing. I mean, we need this money to really just basically continue. It's neck and neck, but we definitely need it to expand, and we're going to expand. We're committed to this. And you go to InfowarsMoneybomb.com to donate, or go to Infowars.com to link through, or call 888-253-3139 with your donations over the phone. You can also write to us. That'll be added next week to the overall number. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. And do you understand Ford Foundation, Carnegie, Rand Corporation, all the old-timers were right. It's true. World government run by the big banks. You pay your taxes to them, VAT taxes, taking the pension funds, troops on the streets for the financial collapse they engineered, We're going to be playing some video of that coming up early in the next hour. This is all happening now. This is real. It's happened to every other country. Most countries are under tyranny. And then the countries fall apart and just are in squalor. They use the economic warfare to control you, just like Mexico does. But we can beat this, okay? They're not invincible. We've known their plans. We've warned people for decades, and they are having a lot of problems. And they're losing in their operations in the Middle East. The globalists are not invincible. And regardless, as we go into this thing, humanity cannot give up. The answer to 1984 is 1776. Resistance is victory. But the globalists are out in the open now. It is incredibly brazen. But one big thing that I know is hurting them, Alan, is, and I want you to get back into the third way, one big thing that's hurting them is the mortgages. It's coming out that they're stealing houses that they don't even own, that it's all fraud, that the deed system's been destroyed. People are winning in court against them. I found that these people aren't gods. They're not kings. They think they are. Just like ClimateGate devastated them. They are not invincible, Alan. I know we can win, and I know I can't give up on my family and my children. We've got to take action. But continue getting into the mortgages, the banking, where you see all this going the third way.
Well, part of the process right now is going into chaos. You see, they form in the public's mind a form of chaos. The public naturally turn to government for solutions, and that's the key to all this process. I've done it many times before in history, and out of the chaos, of course, to say, look, the world's in a mess. We have this plan here to get us out of it, but here's what you have to give up, which is exactly what they're doing right now. So it's a planned takedown. It's step by step. If they have to rush a part of it to create more chaos, they certainly will do it. And I do think there's another part of it planned that way, too, to make us really scared and to make the dollar really plunge even further. And then to come out with their magic solution of the IMF and so on, and how intertwined we are, we can't go it alone anymore until the public get trained in getting the message. And that's psychology. You have no idea how many behavioral psychologists they have working in the big, massive think tanks. They have hundreds of these think tanks, working on every possible outcome to make sure their plan will succeed, So you've got to be aware of this at all times. But even with the mortgages being sold 3 or 4 or 5 times, I've lost track of who owns the houses. That was announced 4 years ago. That was already happening. So it isn't really new. It's just that it's time now to push that and say we can't go on the same old way. Remember, in this New World Order system, and Arnold Toynbee, who was the head teacher at Oxford for Rhodes Scholarships, and he taught the leaders of many countries across Europe and America and Canada. He did say that the world they were bringing in would have eventually no private property. And that's the world we're getting trained to go into. Most youngsters who have come out of school today would never think about buying property. They think renting's the way to go. I've talked to many in Canada. They all agree. So they're all getting this in school, of course. They all feel they're part of the new generation of greening and saving the world and the planet and sacrifice and sharing. And they have no idea what it really means. It's an authoritarian Marxist-type system, but it's run by the wealthiest people on the planet at the top. So it's now time for the U.S. to get brought down. I've been saying this for years, and Toynbee said it too, by the way. He went through the whole process of America. He said the U.S. was designed to take over from Britain when Britain couldn't afford the empire anymore, but they would use the empire model for the United Nations. The U.S. would fund it primarily. They'd supply the armies, and they would win most of the wars, and then they'd seem to lose, and then they'd come back again for a last big push, and then they would collapse, he said, and then China would take over as the world army. This is all designed on the cards, and I've never seen them go wrong with their big plans.
And the CFR has said that 20 years ago. They are just laughing at us, how they've charted all of this out. But we can have a new renaissance of liberty against these people if the public understands their crisis creation.
Yes, and also, too, you've got to understand that that there's been so much subtle but ongoing constant training for maybe 20 years or more that government is the supreme being on the planet instead of being the supreme servant of the people. And the public have to realize they've got to take that back. And really, the politicians, as you know, are nothing like the images that are projected through the magazines and television. They're basically actors, but they still are responsible to the voters that they do want to get in and stay in, but they've got to be held to the fire. And literally, I mean, literally short, honestly, and this has been discussed at the top as well, short of a revolution with a philosophy to back it up as to where they're going with it, the public don't have much of a chance unless there were massive demonstrations going on every week in major cities, capital cities across the world, demanding to have their sovereign rights back again and to put the politicians back in the...
Well, that's starting to happen. That's starting to happen in Europe.
Yeah. There's hope in Europe in some countries because they have caught on quicker. They have memories. Some of the countries are being taken over by totalitarian powers. There are ex-communists living in Canada who tell me here it's more communistic here now than it was in the Soviet Union. They see all the signs coming. They know what's going on. And unfortunately, it's been the American people who've been lulled to sleep with all their trivia on their news and so on as all this is ramming through. But individuality is a key factor here because, you see, again, the United Nations admitted a long time ago, and they've reiterated this thing too, that individuality is their main enemy. So they're trying to create the mass man, the mass mind, where we're all politically correct, we all agree about everything, we're all groupthink, and individuality must be crushed, they said. Well, we're going to regain that individuality, and that means that every individual has the right to speak, regardless of what they want to talk about or say or even question. Without that, you're lost, because the next step is to forbid you to even mention this new global system. And they're trying to do that already, by the way. They're putting through into the military, the RAND Corporation, the NSA are now checking all military personnel to see if they're pro-government or what they now call anti-government. So this is ongoing now. You're seeing the Sovietized system come into play.
Yeah, that's the attempt at intimidation. But we need to boldly stand up and say it's not bad to be pro-Second Amendment and private property and pro-family. You are a bunch of sickos. And they put out, these TV ads showing the school teacher murdering children because they don't accept the New World Government. Mm-hmm. That blew up in their face. The people are now learning that the Federal Reserve is private and is the enemy. And Ron Paul has said that that's why we have a very good chance of winning, because they tried to say there is no private Federal Reserve, there is no world government being formed, there is no plan to put military on the streets for a financial collapse. But I turn on the local radio this morning and hear them reading my article on air, Paul Watson's article, Government Trains Troops to Run American Cities. And they took over 30 calls while I was listening, and 7 out of 10 or more said they've imploded the economy by design. They're going to try to take the pension funds. This is a martial law takeover. But then I heard people calling and saying, yeah, well, I'm in the military. Yeah, we're training for this. But we didn't, the government wants to protect you during the collapse. But, they've gone from not being able to even talk about it to now it being out in the open. And the hosts were even saying, people that have actually made fun of me quite a bit, that this is real, that this is wrong, that this is dangerous, that they're doing gun confiscation drills. But I did hear a father, and he goes, my son's in the Marines. He is training for door-to-door gun confiscation. What's wrong with that? So now they've gone from denying all this to it just now being announced, now coming out in the open, and I don't see them getting away with it, even if they stage terror attacks, Alan.
Well, they do expect trouble. There's no doubt about it. They do expect trouble. They've even got through all their RAND scenarios where they feed all the data through their massive computers, just like they did during the Cold War, and they have pretty good estimates of where the trouble will break out, right down to how many numbers will be involved and so on. The ways to retaliate, calling soft retaliation and hard retaliation, they call it. The soft ones will be, of course, getting the active NGO groups to come out and pretend to stand up for the people's rights, to stop violence and so on. But if that fails, then they'll bring out the hard military, the hard power. Yeah.
Well said, Alan. We've got a Part 2 article that I asked Watson to do that goes as a compliment to Government Trains Troops to Run American Cities. The new report is U.S. troops to deal with rioting Americans, globalists collapsing society to bring in martial law. And Watson goes over all the Army reports, all the proof, all the training, all the things that are going on, how the public is being trained to turn their guns in. It is all up there at prisonplanet.com. U.S. troops to deal with